Hey everybody, welcome to Camel City Chat. I'm John McPherson. I'm here with my guest, Tina Firesheets, author of 100 Things to Do in Winston-Salem Before You Die. Are you ready? Have you missed us? Well, here we go. Tina,
Yes.
where are you from and how long have you been in Winston-Salem?
Well, where I'm from is a story in itself, and it's maybe another book, but I grew up in western North Carolina on the Cherokee Indian Reservation, and I came to this area to go to UNCG.
Spartan?
No.
Yeah, UNCG Spartans.
Oh, Spartan. Yes. I'm sorry. I was thinking
okay.
I was actually thinking Sparta, North Carolina.
No, okay.
No.
It's okay.
Yes, a UNCG Spartan.
Yeah.
Yes. It was many years ago. I'm not
Right,
gonna say
and
how
then
many.
you were wanting to go out west,
Yes.
and then you took care of your mama?
Yes,
Okay.
the summer, the year of that I was planning to do that, my senior year in college, my mom was diagnosed with lung cancer,
Okay,
and I just didn't feel comfortable going across the country.
understand.
So, and I'm an only child, so yeah,
Right.
so I stayed.
All right.
I stayed. I wasn't sure I wanted to, but I did.
And how long have you been in Winston-Salem?
So I actually don't live in Winston.
But see, we've accepted you. I'm never going to tell you why we've accepted her, but Tina said one statement in an article that every person in Winston-Salem wants to say, so I'm just going to say, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome in our home.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, all right, let's get the background. So you're in school, and you've done a lot of stuff in Greensboro. You've started a magazine over there, different stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about what has gotten us to where you are now, because I know you work in marketing. You work for a very respected firm.
Case Communications.
That's right.
Hey.
Yeah. And so, tell us more.
Okay, so I started out, I worked in college newspapers.
Okay.
I just kind of fell in love with it. I went to a journalism workshop at Marshall University before I started college, and that kind of set me on the path, because I was little old, rural Appalachia, I didn't know hardly anyone who was not white or native, and here I am with really, really smart people. From all over the country, and I just felt completely intimidated, but they were really smart young people going to, with plans to go to Harvard and plans to join the Rainbow Warriors, and, and I was like, wow, so we produced a newspaper that week, and I just kind of fell in love with it. So I started out my career in Greensboro at the News and Record as a journalist, and so I did that for about 15 years. And then I had a child, and as everyone who's had a child knows, it kind of takes over your life. And I was so enchanted with him. We were also caring for aging parents. And so I took some time off to be a freelancer and a mom and caregiver. And then the magazine opportunity came my way, and I was able to start and run a magazine published by the News and Record. It was a lifestyle magazine all about Greensboro, and I love Greensboro. My career was, based in Greensboro, started in Greensboro, and and that is my. When people ask where I'm from when I'm outside of the state or elsewhere in the state, I do say Greensboro because that's been my working life.
Well, you're from the Triad, and I mean,
I am, yes.
It is interesting, you say you're 90s, kind of, I think I may be a little older than you, but we're about the same age, and there was more decisiveness as we were younger. It's coming together more now, and, it's always like, where you're from the High Point, Jamestown area. Now, I mean, High Point gets along with Winston, and High Point gets along with Greensboro, but sometimes Winston and Greensboro don't always see eye to eye on things.
Well, I think it's interesting because it's not that far away.
It's a great place.
It's not 20 minutes. If you go to D.C. or New York or any larger metro area, if it takes you 20 minutes to get across town, people don't think about it. They don't blink. But for some reason around here, folks in Greensboro say, oh, Winston's too far away. Folks in Winston say, oh, Greensboro's too far away. I don't know what it is.
It is interesting. And so, on our show, we ask, several questions and things, but you're in a unique situation of what you've done over the years that I do have a tangent question that I want to ask you. And that is, how do we solve the newspaper problem in the world today?
Oh, geez, that's a days-long conversation over some drinks.
It's hard, but I mean, it's like someone told me. Did I see online that a paper didn't even deliver one day? So we just didn't have anything we want to put out recently. I mean, that's how we get our news.
Well, it's how we used to get our
Right.
news. You know, if our age, people our age, that we grew up, that's how we got our news. We got our news, you know, from CBS
Right.
Evening News or ABC, whatever, you know, channel you were loyal to back in the day. But it's just so different now. I mean,
Right.
people have options to get their news anywhere. You know, there's a huge loss in that. You know, we're honestly in Greensboro missing a daily coverage, daily, you know, a daily journalist presence, you know, reporting what's going on with city leaders and council, and you know, it's a huge loss for a city that size. And it truly breaks my heart. I can't think about it too much, or it just makes me too
Well,
sad.
I couldn't believe it because I forget it was. I don't think it was Memorial Day. It may have been. It may have been something before that. But someone said, "Yeah, we didn't get the paper today." They just said they didn't. They weren't
Yeah.
sending it in Winston, and I'm just like, "I'm sorry, what?"
I know.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's been thinner and thinner and thinner, and
Yeah.
there's really no local staff anymore, which hurts too, especially for you with having done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think also the online, digital.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, when the world was less digitized, yeah, if it was, you know, it had to be a pretty catastrophic event for the paper person, you know, not to deliver at your through snow, rain, hurricane, whatever. Your paper was delivered usually, but with digitization, that's not as long as you've got Wi-Fi,
Right.
you can still get the news, but it's just in a different form.
And see, I'm a Journal Sentinel kid. I mean, we had the
Oh,
daily in
yeah.
the morning and then the daily in the
Mhm.
evening and stuff.
Mhm.
And I got to say this because you know Stabler is awesome at what he does, but people are probably wondering what the heck is happening while we're talking. And so we're at this really unique place. This is one of the 100. But while we're talking, I don't know if you're seeing it. The prisms are dancing around
Oh,
above
yeah.
us, and that's what's putting all the lights on us
Yeah.
and stuff. So we're not in a disco, because when I'm looking at you, I'm like going, shoo, shoo. And you know, with ADD, it's bad. I'm like, oh, what? But so all right, so you spent your college and most of your career in Greensboro. You live with your family in the Jamestown High Point area,
Yes.
and you write a book.
Uh-huh.
You know where I'm going with this?
Yes, about Greensboro.
About
I mean,
Winston-Salem. So
Yeah.
what? What?
So, yeah, it kind of came my way. So, I freelance no matter what I've done. You know, when not when I was a journalist that you know or a magazine editor, but once I got out of that business, I continued to freelance because you know once you are a storyteller, you're just always a storyteller, and I really enjoy writing about my community. And I consider, you know, Winston, even though I'm a Jamestown resident, I consider Winston a part of my community. I consider North Carolina my community. And so I still love telling stories about what's going on. And so I continue to freelance. And I believe what happened was an editor that I was freelancing for at the time, the press, Reedy Press, I have to give them a mention, Reedy Press, they do versions of this book all around the country. So there's 100 Things to Do in Las Vegas and, you know, in New Orleans. And they wanted to do one for Winston-Salem. And so they reached out to this editor, or somehow they connected to this editor. And she asked me if I might be interested. And I said, I don't know, maybe. And then here we go. I have a book.
Cool. So what was the process like for you?
Well, I call it a little bit my practice book because, you know, as a writer, I've always been a writer. I've always been into books. I grew up reading voraciously, and I always knew I wanted to write, and I always knew that one day I would love to write my own book. But when you are, I've always worked in other writing fields to pay the bills. But also, you know, fortunately for me, I've loved everything I've done. But there just hasn't been enough mental bandwidth to do these, anything else longer than an article. So I thought, well, this will be a good practice. Let's see if I can do it, and and do my other things that I'm involved with, and being a mom, being a working mom. So yeah, it was good. So full disclosure, I had a year to write it. I really.
Did you wait till the last minute?
I won't say that. I really got started around the summer, and I was really fortunate. My employer, I was able to work all my hours in 4 days,
Right.
so that I could, have a 3-day weekend to work on my book. So I just, worked like crazy those 4 days to do the best I could and get everything done, and then, the other 3 days were devoted. I tried to devote to the book.
One of the some of the other questions we ask are, what's your favorite place to eat? What's your favorite thing to do? And it's really kind of weird to ask you that, because what I want to do is we've done our intro, we've talked about that. I want to take a break. And then when we come back, I want people to understand that this wasn't, oh, hey, where do you like, or stuff like that. I mean, you go to these places, you talk to the people, you get all this stuff, and let's go through the whole thing. And then, I like in the top 20 things in the beginning, I think I haven't done like maybe 2 or 3 of them. But it's and it is Before You Die. You kidded with me when I said that I was going to make a comment about how let's do it all in a weekend. But it is there's some really neat, cool things in there. So let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, let's talk about the process. All right?
Okay.
We'll be right back with more Camel City Chat. Welcome back to Camel City Chat. I'm John McPherson, and I'm here with my guest, Tina Firesheets. We're enjoying a book out in the solarium. Did you know this was a solarium? Look at this. It's in the book. I know you know it's this because you wrote it.
I wrote it.
We are talking about 100 Things to Do in Winston-Salem Before You Die. Tina wrote the book, and now we're going to find out how she wrote the book. So do you know where we are right now? I'm going to test you. I'm just kidding. No, we're at the West Salem Art Hotel.
We are.
And this is really cool because I want to talk about that, of why you're here and why we're here. But let's go back. Yeah. So it's Thursday. You lock up the door at Pace Communications, jump in the car, go home, feed your kid, and then what happens on Friday morning? Is this PTSD right now?
No. So I will, it's hard, y'all, to really do what you intend to do, because there are always these life things that try to hijack your plans. Sometimes it's because I prioritize, my work that pays, that helps me, pay my bills. So if there are things that need to be addressed, then I'm going to address them.
Right.
So sometimes things will need to be done.
Right.
Sometimes you arrange to get your upholstery cleaned, and they don't tell you that you should have moved all the things, and so you spend an entire day removing things and putting them back.
How do you get to, so, I mean, obviously at that point you're calling people and saying, hey, so how'd you find these 100?
So the advantage of having lived in the Triad for as long as I have is that when the first hour that I started working on it, I was able to come up with 60, 70. Just
really?
In less than an hour, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to start looking in the back here and seeing, like, because, I was thinking,
because I've lived here for, a minute, and many of the things I have done, full disclosure, I haven't done every single 100 of them, but also, having been in journalism for so long and having run a magazine in the area, you know what's going on around you. You've either written about it or you're just aware of it. So it wasn't really that hard. What I didn't know, and what I supplemented, and I mentioned them in the book and the thank you, is Jeff Smith, Smitty's Notes.
Right.
He was the first person I
called. We know him. Yeah.
He was the first person I called, and he was an amazing resource. Anything to do with Winston-Salem, I go straight to him first.
Right.
And then he helped connect me to Marquita Kiefer, Visit Winston-Salem.
Right.
And she's been amazing. So yeah, I had some help. I had some help because I didn't know everything, of course. Um, and it just kind of, the people of Winston-Salem have been so great. Anytime I reached out to call someone to, to get more details about something, to see if I could come visit, or, could we, put them in the book, whatever. It's just been super welcoming and cooperative and, appreciative, just all the things. It's great.
I consider myself the most connected person there is. I will sit down with people and they'll go, well, you know so and so, or you know so and so, you know so and so, and I'm like, no, I don't. And then I'll get home and I'll be like, or today, it's like you and I were talking, and you're going to see Clark here in a little while. So Clark and I have connected on Facebook. I don't know Clark, but we've connected on Facebook Messenger, and it's like, but I know how to get in touch with Clark,
Yeah.
So it's there. I mean, we have such a wealth of people here. And like for instance, where we are, and I don't know if everyone heard we're outside of a building. We're in the solarium. Did you know about the Art Hotel, or that's one of those that you just kind of picked up on?
I did know about the Art Hotel because there was an article about it in the paper.
Right. Okay.
And I read that article. And then I put it on my list, like I want to go there someday.
And this is your first time here.
It is my first time here.
Yeah, so that's
yes.
what was neat to
Yes.
me is it was your first time here. Now, so then we're right next to the coffee
West
house.
Salem Public House.
Right. So the
Yeah.
public house. What's cool about the public house is one of my friends' sons used to work there, and then one of my other friends have worked there too. Because it's a flip flop, and that's what people don't understand. In the morning it's coffee, and then it flips into be a bar at night, which is really cool.
Yeah. Afternoon,
So
yeah.
I've been in there a couple times. But as I was saying, the thing that there were a couple that I had not done early on, and of course when you and I talked for the first time, now there are only 99 that you can do because we lost. Oh my God, Black Mountain Coffee was so awesome. But we can at least go outside where they are right now, take a picture.
Oh, yes,
because then that
yes.
gets you in all of that area down there near Bailey Park.
Yes.
But I guess now comes the questions of like, as you've gone around to these places, and I realize that you can't say, but I can ask it in a way that you don't get in trouble, and that is, where's the last place you ate in Winston-Salem?
Oh gosh, the very last place I ate.
And that food over there does not count because you haven't taken a bite out of it.
I
So,
haven't.
yeah.
Some of that stuff is Bobby Boy Bakery, by the way, which is
Okay.
in the book.
Yep.
But probably Native Root pop up because I had a little book event at West Salem Public House a couple of weekends ago, and I've been following. Native Root, Jordan Rainbow is in the book,
Yep.
and her banh mi was her. It was delightful.
All right.
Yeah, I've been following her for a minute on social.
Okay.
And just really love what she's doing.
So speaking about social, we got a website?
We do.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, we don't have a website because there's only so much I myself can do.
So you don't have a website?
But I have Facebook. You can follow on Facebook and on Instagram. At
And what are you?
100 Things.
You're just search 100.
100 Things to Do in Winston-Salem on Facebook, and
Okay.
100 Things Winston-Salem on Instagram.
All right. And the
Yeah.
book's $18.
It is $18.
All right. And
Yeah.
you take Venmo?
I take Venmo,
That's
Apple Pay, Google Pay.
All right, there we go. So-
PayPal.
I'm like, I walked out of the house without the checkbook. I gotta buy the one we're giving away, and one for Stabler and one for me. And it's like, yeah. But no, it's a good book. It's light, obviously, in the sense of you just pick it up and go, oh, okay, so what's today? Today is Cup of Joe, Crankies, Say So, Footnote.
Yeah.
I mean, you jump over here and it's like, go to the Art Hotel. Well, how did I get right back to that one? Rise early for an Easter sunrise service at God's Acre. Have not done that yet, and have lived here since 1977.
Oh, wow.
That's too early in the morning.
It is real
I used
early.
to, and I'm gonna get some hate mail on this. I used to tell my minister at our church, he'd say, "Will you come to sunrise service?" And I'm like, "My God's not up that early," and so they didn't think that was funny, but I always did. But no, I mean, Renolda House. I mean, there's some of these are just simple.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
know
have
them.
to. They're going to have to be in them.
The Krispy Kreme flagship store is 2 doors down from my office, so that really is kind of, well, let's see. The Krispy Kreme flagship store is 2 doors down from my office, so, no, but that's...
There's been an update, though. I read on, I think Smitty posted it, that the Hot Now sign's going to go
The
off
Hot
at
Now
7?
is only on
Or-
during the day and not like it used to be.
Yeah.
Because I remember there used to be country music stars that would come and play the Joel, and when they'd leave town, somebody'd go, the hot now sign's on. And see, one of my friends was involved in, they have and Stable, you know it, Tom was involved in this. They have a magnometer or something, or I'm using big words or something, but they, if the hot light sign went on, it would flick a magnet that would then make it alive on your app. It would send it to social media, so that's how you knew the light was on. And so he did that across the entire United States of that. So you'd have a Krispy Kreme app and you'd know if the hot light was on at whatever store you're wanting to go to.
That is genius.
Yeah. So, and I mean, what was the one that blew you out of the water? I mean, like, first of all, seeing the clamshell for me for the first time was really cool. And we've had them on the show, and it's...
really?
It's a neat place. But what's the thing that blew you out of the water?
In terms of...
Just what was the one that when you were like, oh, wow, I didn't even know this place existed.
I don't know that I had a moment like that. That's a good question. I think the thing that really impressed me the most was just how far back Winston-Salem's history goes, and like you have something like the Salem Band that has been performing since the Moravians first came to the city, and they're still performing today. That's amazing. I mean, how many bands have been performing for that long?
I believe that she's in it, but I'm one of my partners that used to do, it's MKT is the name of my real estate group. The T is Wendy Taylor. Her mom's partner, I believe, is in that band because she's always at every time they perform.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the, for people to stay together for any length of time is pretty amazing today. Yeah. But for a band to be continuously performing like that, that was amazing to me. And these traditions of the sunrise service that continue today, the 4th of July, the concerts at Old Salem. And to me, that's really what makes Winston-Salem so beautiful, is that you have these centuries-old traditions that continue today, but then you have this new, very progressive and forward, future-focused developments that are happening, like at Innovation Quarter, that are going to really continue to move the city into the next centuries. And that's really special for a place, a city this size, to be able to have both of those.
We're the biggest hometown. I mean, it's like everybody knows everybody, waves and things like that. Yeah. All right, now is where the gloves come off, and you're going to get the rough questions here.
Okay.
What's your favorite place?
My favorite
place. What's number one in the 100 to you?
People like to ask what's your favorite place to eat? What's your favorite food? Da da da. And I think it's going to change every day depending on your mood, what you're up to. The thing. Okay, so have to name one thing. The Chair Museum at Salem College is definitely one of the.
And it's amazing to me. No one goes in there, but you just go right down there, and it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I want every single chair in there. And in fact, here Rosa, I've been in contact with Rosa Otero, who runs it, and we're gonna do something. But it's just so beautiful, and it's such an unexpected thing. And this, in Old Salem at Salem College, which again is very historic and dates back centuries, and then you have this amazing display of chairs through the years. It's just very unexpected, and I love that. And I think that's a little bit reflects Winston-Salem, maybe.
Well, I will say this. We've got about a minute or two left, and I want to make sure that we do a couple plugs. I don't know if you know this, but Smitty's Note sponsors our stuff. And you and I have kidded around. We're going to add you to our sponsor list because you're going to help us get a bunch of guests and connect us and do that. So to do that, we've got to do an ad for you. And in that ad, how do people learn about, where to find the book? And then most importantly, you've got a new side gig because you didn't have enough.
I did.
So we're here, and you're meeting a group of people, and you're going to take them on a tour you're also going to hook up with one of the guys that is written. You're gonna catch up with him at one of the places, and he's going to give a history of another thing. So how do I get that, and how do I get in touch with you to do that?
So one of the things that I really have enjoyed from the book and promoting the book is that you can get the book and you can go through it and say, oh, you know, these are going to be fun things to do later, and then, you know, you may or may not get to it. One of the things that I've really come to enjoy is offering these experiences and these book tours. So, for example, today I'm going to take a group. We're meeting here at the West-Salem Art Hotel. We're going next to Wieners and Losers 80s Arcade. We'll play some games. We'll hear Scott talk about, you know, where he gets all the machines and how he maintains them. And then we're going to wrap up with some Camel City barbecue at Wise Man Brewing, and we're going to do a little tour there, have a pint, and Clark Winnington, the founder of the Artomat, is going to come join us, and we're going to talk to him about that. The thing about, so this benefits, I think, myself and the readers too, is that each entry of the book is maybe 250, 300 words. That's not, you can't get too much in depth and get too much of a backstory in with, you know, that word count. So what these experiences do is that they give people an opportunity to get a tour and to really have a conversation with the people behind these concepts and these creations, and find out, you know, what inspires them, what motivates them, you know, and ask questions. And that is an experience that you're not going to get if you just kind of fly solo and knock it off the list.
All right, so how do we get the book?
So you can get it. You can order from me directly if you like. Reach out to me through DM me, I guess, on Facebook and Instagram. 100 Things to Do in Winston-Salem on Facebook and 100 Things Winston-Salem on Instagram. Right. You can also order from the press. If you go to Reedy Press and then you do a search for 100 Things.
I saw it in Bookmarks.
They are also in Bookmarks, which is locally owned, and in the book. And Barnes & Noble. Okay. Yeah, you can get them in Barnes & Noble. Scuppernong Books for any Greensboro listeners. Scuppernong Books, I'll be doing a little chat there next month with the founder of Best of Winston-Salem. Okay. Yeah. Great. All right. Well, I really appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you. This has been fun. Yeah, no, absolutely. We will be back next week. That's right, next week, with more Camel City Chat. Thank you to Smitty's Notes. Find them online at smittysnotes.com. And check us out online on YouTube. You've got all that. Like, subscribe, push the button, watch the video over here. Appreciate you. We'll see you next week.